I think we are ready for Jerry Jones, and Jerry is brought to you by Ford, built for Texas, built for you. Good morning, Jerry. Merry Christmas.
RJ, Bobby, Merry Christmas to you, and hope you had a great couple of days there. And certainly it makes us appreciate all the good things. And from the standpoint of the Cowboys in football, we could have added a little Christmas spirit to having that game turn out differently, but we got to live over that and move on here.
Yeah, I could sense that, and we were talking about this, comparing this one to Buffalo. This had to be a different kind of frustrating because you had a chance in this one to win it late.
Well, listen, both those teams are outstanding teams. They're going to be probably in the over in the AFC. They're going to be in the top 3 or 4 teams, and we saw another one play last night, the Baltimore team against San Francisco 49ers. But we've just got to be reminded that there are good teams all over this place in the NFL, and we've got to be right when we play them. And every week at this juncture in a season, you have a chance to get right. You really do. And you can improve on that's the purpose of it. That's the purpose of it being structured the way it is, so that absent having to adjust for unavailability, injury, then you can get a better team and push it up there and play. I'm sure San Francisco would like to have that one back last night.
Jerry, when we look at these last 2 weeks, there was a lot of optimism, I think, for the fan base and everybody else heading into the Buffalo and Miami games. Obviously, these were 2 big road losses. But when you look at the struggles on the road, I know this has become a big talking point. Do you say that at this point you think it could be as much psychological as anything else, or do you think it's just bad luck?
No, I don't think it's bad luck. I don't think it's psychological. I think it's execution. We know that we can see 4 or 5 plays. Coaches have been saying since the beginning of time, one play doesn't make the difference in the basic tenor of the game. On the other hand, in the NFL, a few plays can really be difference makers. Certainly the turnover we had going down on the drive was a difference maker. I had hoped that we'd look back on it and say we overcame a setback there early because we had the right tenor when we made that long drive, one of the most successful of the year against a good team. So bottom line, guys, is that every quarter, every possession, every one of these at this juncture from here on out, every one of these you just about don't execute at the right time, and it's going to be that close, and you'll go home. Your season will be over. And we've got to keep that in mind. We've got to try to eliminate some of those mistakes. You can look at any description of the game today or yesterday. They'll point out 3 or 4 big plays. They'll point out big plays, Daks decisions, coaches' decisions, point out players not wrapping up. All of those things I know we're tired of hearing, but when you play these teams that are playing for all the marbles, tournament-type football, playoff-type football, then you're going to have it down to that close. And I'm glad we've got a team that can play at that level. Now, when you have that, you can take a team like we've got and you can go any place. And, boy, you can make some good things happen and you can win the ball game. And then you do it on another one and then another one. And the next thing you know, you're in the big game.
Jerry Jones joined us here at 105 through the Fan. CD had the incredible touchdown catch and run, and that was in the first quarter. And then he didn't see a target until about 10 minutes to go in the fourth. Why was it so hard to get the ball to CD in those 2 quarters?
And I don't know. Those are decisions because we got options of where to go with the ball. And everybody on the field knows that can step back from it and say, look, get the ball in the hands of your best player. But, boy, you've got to put the ball in the hands of some other players, too, not for any reason other than you just can't every down have that in the ball. Well, you say San Francisco sits there and they puts it in the hand of Debo a lot, and they'll put it in McCaffrey a lot. That's to say the least. But if you look hard, they're spreading it around a little bit too. But we all want to look back and say, and the entire team does, and say, boy, we should have had the ball in Lamb's hand, certainly in the second and third quarters.
Jerry, you know, when you talk
I
about
have an answer for that. I really don't.
And when you talk about that, though, CeeDee Lamb and how impactful he's been, it's felt like at times over the last couple of years, whenever there are losses in some of these games, that it's when, you know, the CeeDee-Dak connection isn't strong, or there's times where they're taking away CeeDee Lamb. Do you think that this team is at its best when CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott are clicking together?
Well, I think those are our best players in terms of Dak's ability to make the play or a play that can give us the big play. 25 a yard longer is the definition of it. But Dak, and then, of course, CD is certainly the guy that on the other end of the ball can run after catch and can do some things with the ball after he gets it. That's his forte. And trust me, both of them know that, and all your coaching staff know that too, fairly well. And the other team's got a lot to do with it. Situation's got a lot to do with it. And sometimes they feel like that in this particular case specifically, Dak could have gone either way with the ball. Didn't go that way if he had it back. I'm not trying to be trite. If he had it back, obviously he'd probably go Lamb's way.
Talking with Cowboys owner and general manager Jerry Jones here on 105 through the Fan. Jerry, Micah Parsons expressed some frustration after the game about the lack of holding calls that he's drawn. I believe the last one was the middle of October was the last time that Micah drew a holding penalty. Is that something that you guys would ask the league to, like, hey, can we get a closer look at this, because we feel like he's, you know, some teams are getting away with holding our guy here?
I don't think the intent is to take a player of his skill and limit him. One of the judgment issues here is they won't call a holding penalty within a certain range of holding. What does that mean? Well, that means they won't call a holding penalty usually if they don't think the player would have gotten to the quarterback to begin with. Now, think about that a minute. That's your judgment that is still, we have in officiating that judgment. If they think he wouldn't have gotten there, that doesn't work for Parsons, because he's about to get there almost all the time, almost from the snap of the ball. That sounds simplistic, but it's a fact. And he does so much finishing. And so anything that just limits him should be a hold. That's the kind of discussion that you would have and Stephen would have in the competition committee to address that. This is not the first time that penalties have been defined by the unique skills of a player. Not the first time at all. It's happened to us. It's happened to other great players. And so that one's got to be worked through, because it's not working good for Dak. There's no question Dak is having restrictions that are called that, if turned loose, would result in a sack or result in more pressure on the quarterback. In general, they're basically trying to not discourage protection schemes or protection technique for the quarterback.
So Micah gets officiated differently than a lot of other players.
Well, he gets officiated not differently, but most players that don't get those holds where Michael doesn't get them couldn't get to the quarterback. Micah can.
Jerry,
a lot of players are not being called for holding or not having holding calls go with them, but they couldn't get to the quarterback. Micah can. And so therefore it is restrictive to him.
Jerry, you talked about last night that you're sure San Francisco would like to have that game back. We saw recently Philadelphia go on a 3-game losing streak. There's obviously been a lot of struggles with the Chiefs and what they're dealing with. Does this feel as winnable of an NFL season as you can recall in recent history? Do you feel like the opportunity is really there for you guys to capture something special?
Yes, I certainly do. Without question, I do. You look at our how we pushed it up here, what we've got. We're going into our last 2 ball games. Knock on wood. I like our health a lot. I like hopefully Tyron will come on around. We injected him last week, and that usually works. And hopefully we could have him. He's a huge difference maker, Tyron Smith. And but health-wise, I look at that. As far as preparing this team to go win a football game, we're in as good a shape as we've been in many years for this team to go on a good game run and win this thing. And that's saying a lot this time of year. A lot of people can't say that. But do we have some things that as late as Sunday could really improve our team if we'll clean it up? Yes, we do. In a big way, would have had them under any circumstances, but we do have them. Are they things that we can clean up as we go into Detroit here, as we go to Washington, and then get ready for those playoffs? You bet. I wouldn't trade. I really wouldn't, reasonably, in an either-or, trying to be as realistic as I could. I wouldn't trade our position for a better one today. And it has everything to do with how healthy we are at key spots.
Jerry, are you encouraged by the run defense from this weekend?
No, encouraged not the word for it. I think that I know that we were compromised. It's a balancing act out there. But I saw good things. I saw us do some good things. In general, I thought we can play much better. But I will tell you this, that is one of the best offensive teams you'll see. They're certainly in the top 3 or 5. And there are parts of that thing that we did a good job on. I want some more of. I want us to do that some more against that type talent.
Jerry, you mentioned the injury situation, how you feel good about where you guys are at, how you're going to try to get Tyron Smith ready to go for this game against Detroit. Where do things stand with Jonathan Hankins' availability coming off of that ankle, and were there any injuries coming out of this game that you guys are monitoring?
Yeah, I don't know that we'll have him this week, but we're going to have him as we get on into it, get on into the playoffs, and we may have him this week. Mozzie's coming on. Mozzie, in my mind, did some very good things out there the other night. So he's coming on, and that's great. I think our health in that interior defensive front looks good. I think, of course, we missed Van Der Esch, but teams all over this league are missing key people. No, really, I think health-wise, we got Hooker back. He played well. That's a big deal for us. So I look at defensively, I expect us to take advantage of everything that we've seen, done, haven't done. I think we have absorbed it. We got some outstanding people that can highlight it for all the players, practice to get better or to refine certain things we do. All of this looks good. All of this really looks good. Certainly would like to have won the football game. We would like to, I'm being trite when I say that. But as far as us being in good shape to go into the playoffs and really make a wave, I feel very good about our chances to do that. And Dak is playing outstanding. I thought Dak played a heck of a game the other night. He had pressure all night long. That had everything to do with not having Tyron and having to makeshift that offensive line to some degree. Everybody has to do it, but I thought Dak handled it outstanding.
And that was going to be my follow-up question there. You mentioning that you thought Dak played really well in this game in the face of what was a lot of pressure. He was having trouble getting the ball out quickly. Where do you think Dak is right now overall in terms of his comfortability in this offense and his command of this offense? You know, we've saw the gaudy statistics there for that 6-week period or whatever it was, and these past couple weeks have been tough games for him. But you still like the resolve you've seen from him?
I think Dak's the best he's been in his career, and I think if you can go into this part of your season in the NFL and your quarterback is playing at this level, you've got an outstanding chance to do some come home happy, and so he's the reason for my number one highlight. And then frankly, we've done a lot of things. We've had a lot of machination in terms of offense, and I think we're going to take advantage of that over these next weeks. Last 2 ball games and then the playoff. Over on defense, we're frankly some of the things that we've seen the last 2 weeks made us better. It hurt, but it made us better. That's football. That's what happens in football. And so it's possible to have lost those 2 games against Buffalo and to have lost it against Miami and gotten better technically. Nobody wants that way to get better. But it's possible that we're a better team today for having played those 2 games than what we took up there. What we took over there to Miami wasn't enough. And so we better hope we get better, but I think we've gotten better.
Jerry, we saw Stephon Gilmore leave the field with what looked like an arm injury. He was off the field for a couple plays and ended up coming back. Is everything all good to go with him and his status?
I'm planning on him playing, and I think that's realistic. Yeah, I think he's planning on playing, and he did some really good things for us out there the other night. We're lucky to have him.
Hey, Jerry, we appreciate it this morning. I'll see you out there on Saturday. I'll be a guest of the great Bennett Glazer, so I'll see you for a big Saturday game against Detroit.
You're with my favorite fan and as well as associate, and boy, they broke the mold when they made him and his great organization, and we're sure proud that he's a Cowboy.
Yes, sir. All right, we'll see you on Saturday. Best of luck this week, Jerry.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.